Guys, it's getting real. It's getting real. You know, bonds are breaking, alliances are breaking, friendships ending. Like, it's actually getting real in the Love Island villa. I'm not gonna lie to you. Guys, when I tell you this, for those that are not watching Love Island games, when I tell you Love Island games is 10 times better than the original Love Island, I'm so sorry. Like, the way that I'm actually having mad enjoyment watching this show, like watching this series. Like, they need to create more spin-off series like similar. Like, there's a similar aspect to it. Like, yeah, you can find love and the lovey-dovey stuff is cute and that, but like the competitive side to this and seeing how people are like snaking each other and the backstabbing and bro, it's mad entertaining. I'm not gonna lie to you, but yes, this episode was very, very interesting. Welcome to Vegas, baby. But before we get into it, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as you already know, we're on the road to 10,000 subscribers, so be sure to join that family. Without further ado, let's get into this review. So Johnny is basically the rounding up the power. Is it Johnny? Yeah, Johnny was like kind of the power squad went to have a conversation, and Andrea was getting up to go, but Johnny said, "Sorry, not you, Andrea." Basically excluding her from the conversation because obviously, yes, Andrea was a part of the power squad, but because she's coupled up with Josh, by default that excludes her. Casey, Sydney, Justine, and Garby are saying that, you know, the power squad, they need to like hang it up now. Like, are they still doing like their little gang business and all this type of stuff? At the end of the day, all this alliance stuff is sweet, like it's cute for the moment, but as we saw how the episode played out later on, it was only a matter of time, and I'm glad, like, it was only a matter of time till that little power squad, that truce that they all had, it was gonna come to an end. Because me personally, okay, yeah, you gotta play the game, but only actually I don't know, I haven't watched this before, but I believe only one person wins. From is it only one person that wins, or does a couple win? Like, is it like regular Love Island where a couple wins, or is it just one individual person? Josh thinks that them guys are jealous of Andrea and him. I can tell you for free that no one is jealous of you. They see you as a threat. That I could say. They see you as a threat because you're a big guy. You know, you're quite strong. You are competitive. With that sense, yes. But jealous of you and Andrea? I don't think so. I think you just need to. You're feeling yourself a little too much. I beg your pardon. Lucinda and Kendall are good friends outside of the villa, and the reason why I wrote this down is because I wasn't too sure, but she actually confirmed saying outside of the villa she actually knows Kendall very well. So yeah, that's just to kind of cover that and confirm that. Tyreek is saying as Andrea is in a couple with Josh by default, she cannot be a part of like the group anymore. So basically they've isolated her, which is understandable if you have an alliance with someone, but the other person is on the other side, but you're coupled up for the sake of the challenge, for the sake of the challenge and for the game that they done. Cool, Andrea's on our team, but now when we're having like conversations and stuff, you can't be involved. I do understand it to an extent actually, because you would then go back and tell Josh what's being said, exactly what Garby done, and we'll get to that. We will actually get to that. Josh wants to throw Toby and Tyreek in a duel against each other right before the final, and says how Tyreek has skated through the entire season not really doing anything. I kind of agree with that. I'll be very honest with you guys. Apart from when him and Toby came first in that challenge, in the power squad challenge thing, what has Tyreek actually done to prove that he's actually like competitive like that? And like the first challenge, if it wasn't for Josh finding his stars, Josh would have wiped the floor with him. Like, I have to keep it all the way about, yes, Tyreek is from the UK, he's flying the UK map. I support Tyreek. Do I support all of his actions? Absolutely not. But him as like an individual and him being from the UK, I'm supporting him. But I have to keep it real. What has he actually done in terms of the challenges? When it comes to like thinking and strategic wise, I'll give it to him. He's got that in the bag. He's very tactical, and I feel like that's due to him being a footballer as well. Like him playing football and kicking ball. That also plays a part, you know, with tactics, formations, and it does play a part. But in terms of like challenges, what has he actually done to prove himself for people to be like, oh my god, Tyreek's a threat? Because ain't nobody talking about no Tyreek being a threat. But Tyreek is smart in sense like he's formed certain alliances that has made him kind of become a threat. Does that make sense? Like, he's aligned with Johnny, he's aligned with Toby, he's aligned with people that's like, okay, so if I was in a weak position, these people will save me. So he's smart. And I think Tyreek deep down knows when it comes to like strength-wise and stuff, other people are going to wipe the floor with him. So he had to think of another way. So I do agree with Josh. Tyreek has kind of slid his way through the season up until maybe most likely the final now, because the final is going to be in a couple of days. I think this is the last recoupling and last dumping, I think, until the final. But yeah, I do agree with Josh in that aspect. I do agree with him. Garby is now feeling alone since that Kendall has left. Lucinda is then asking Garby, is she going to couple up with Casey? And Garby was like saying to her, I'm not going to tell you because you're on the other team. And it's the same thing. Yeah, they are friends, but at the end of the day, you're on the opposing side. Me personally, there's no friends in that villa now. As it stands, it's coming to clutch. Me and you're not friends. As mad as this is gonna sound, I'm gonna act like your friend right now. I'm still your friend, but I'm gonna have to really play to be your friend just so I can get what I want. I'm gonna have to really bite you in the butt for me to get what I want. For me to get that 250,000, you're gonna, like I said, this episode was really showing people were really putting all their cards on the table. And I was shocked. And when I get to it, we will talk. But I was shocked by a certain couple because I said, this is what I've been waiting for from you. Not all this sorry, trying to, But we'll get to it when we get to it. Josh asks, Josh asks Isaiah, was this like Isaiah's coming out? Was this like his coming out party in terms of like which side he was picking? Again, for context, these two actually, again, know each other from outside of this Love Island stuff, and they've also known each other for a long time. So kind of like, I don't know if it's as well as like Tyreek and Toby from since school, but they do know each other. They have known each other for a while. Isaiah was saying, he's never had one chat with Josh ever since Chris has left. And I was just hearing that, and I'm like, it's coming like you want to date Josh. I mean, why not? Josh is a hunk. Like, Josh is fit as fuck. Like, me personally, I would date Josh if I got the chance to, and if I wasn't seeing somebody. But he's a fit man, so I get it. But you're on Love Island, so why you press that Josh isn't pulling you for chats? It's a little bit concerning, Isaiah. And you're bearing your feelings about it. It's a little bit. It's a little bit worried. That's what I'm saying, Isaiah. I don't know what to think about Isaiah. It's a little bit worrying that you're that pressed that Josh wasn't pulling you for chats. But then when it comes to loyalty, and I agree with Josh. Like I feel like I'm gonna be agreeing with Josh on a few points this review, right? I agree with Josh in terms of like Tyreek and Toby don't need to constantly have a conversation regarding their loyalty. But Josh, again, the reason why I see where Isaiah's coming from, remember that disgusting bird challenge where you guys had to spit the gun? I never want to think of that challenge again, to be honest. And, excuse me, Josh was, like, spitting the bowl. Sorry, I'm going to have to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Spitting the bowl. Spitting the gunk into like their bowl, and Isaiah said, I can see you, Josh, I can see you. So maybe Isaiah had that in his head from the whole time, and that's what it is. But like I said, you could come in with your best boy from 15 years and you can end up leaving, not being friends no more over this show. Like, this show could really make or break people, boy. Sydney is saying that she's found what she has been looking for in Toby. Yeah, that's oh god. Anyway, Johnny is having a conversation with Josh saying how Tyreek and Toby are like the heads of this whole thing, and like their safety blanket is basically Johnny. I've been saying it, Johnny's not really one to trust, because you're meant to be on Toby and Tyreek's side, but you're here having conversation with Josh, having your own kind of, like I said, that's what I'm saying. Everybody could have these alliances, but everybody actually has their own game plan when it comes down to it. When it comes down to clutch, everybody has their own game plan. And that's what I found it funny. I am going to relay back to something. When Casey first came into the villa, and he was like, oh, I didn't know you had to come in here being all strategic and think, yeah, you do. You do. With this Love Island games, you have to be You have to be 5 moves ahead, not just a move. You need to be 5 steps ahead of people. You need to think of what the next move someone else is going to do before you even think of your next move, so you know how to counteract their move. Like, it's like playing chess. It really is like playing a game of chess. Tyreek is saying he wants Johnny, Toby, and him in the final. And I simply put, I wouldn't trust Johnny if I was you, because I don't know what, you don't know, after having that conversation with Josh, you don't know what he's thinking. Or maybe it could be a double whammy where Johnny's trying to get information from Josh. That's what I'm saying. You actually don't know what anybody's thinking. Like, it's got me questioning people. Like, Sydney isn't giving Toby the confidence to win the jewels. Like, Toby basically thinks that Sydney's head is basically an Andrina situation. He likes Sydney, but in terms of, like, when it comes to, like, dueling, competitive side, that her head is not really in the game. And then Tyreek was saying it's time for Toby to make a serious decision. You need to... One thing I would actually say, and this is, if anybody happens to be in the Love Island season with Tyreek again, stop letting Tyreek control your head. He done it on his season with Montel and the other guys when he was persuading the other guys and they were all following what he was doing. And now, Toby, you went and done exactly the... If you genuinely have a connection with Sydney, why would you fuck that up? Because you genuinely fucked up your morale and chemistry with her. You genuinely fucked that up. All because you listened to Tyreek. I know Tyreek is your boy, but sometimes your boy's advice isn't going to always be the best advice. I'll be so real. Sometimes when my friends give advice, it's not always the best for me, for what I see fit. I listen to people's advice. Don't get it twisted. I'm always here to listen. I'm always here to learn. I'm always here to take notes. But that doesn't mean that their advice is always the best advice to give. It really doesn't mean that. And Tyreek, I'm sorry, but his advice isn't always the best. Sometimes he does say, you know, I'll give it to him. He does have good pep talks. But in this case, me personally, it wasn't, because it's not like to say Sydney's rubbish. But anyway, but then again, I haven't really seen Sydney pull her weight. So it's a tough one. But listen, Garby, there was no way Garby was coupling up with Toby. There was no way that was happening. Tyreek is all saying nice guys finish last. That's not necessary. Watching Love is Blind UK with Demola. I mean, I do get what he's saying, but that's not always the case. That's not actually always the case. Apparently on season 1 of Love Island Games, Justine had blindsided one of her best guy friends last year to win the show. Like I said, guys, it's only going to get more cutthroat until the final, to be honest with you. So Toby played himself here, and Toby, you're an idiot. Because why would you go... You guys always say that there's this side versus this side. Why on God's given earth would you go to Garby and tell Garby your game plan or want to couple up with Garby? Why would you tell her? And how you don't want to stay with Sydney? Because all she went to do after that was go and tell Casey the tea and go. But they kept that to their chest. They said, I'm not going to tell anybody right now. Garby was the only one that went to go and tell Sydney, of course, so she wasn't blindsided. And yeah, you messed up. You played yourself. You actually put yourself in a very vulnerable situation. They got a text that tonight will be Vegas night. Oh, we love a Vegas night. I've never been to Vegas, but we love a Vegas night. I would like to go there one year, but I don't do the gambling shit. I don't do gambling, so why would I really be going to Vegas? I'm sure there's more to Vegas than just the casinos and stuff like that. But guys, let me know if you've been to Vegas. I know Vegas is known for the casino. Oh, sorry about that. Our camera stopped recording. Anyway, let's resume right back in. Tyreek wants to target Josh and Andrea all night. I believe that is... The reason why I paused, because he said that, but I feel like they were going for anybody else, but that seems like the right move to make. Garby told Sydney about what Toby had said. Sydney told the girls that Toby is a snake, but obviously Garby was like, don't show him that you know, but for some people that's hard to do, because me personally, if I know some information and I know I have to now sit next to you and you talking in my face, I can't lie, like, it's only a matter of time till I self-destruct. Yeah, it's actually only a matter of time till I self-destruct, because for me personally, it's like, I know you're a snake, I know you're a liar, but it's like, when do I actually unleash hell on you? But the boys have to basically come and sit next to the... This is basically for the recoupling. The boys have to come and sit next to the girl that they want to couple up with, but they have to see if the girl would accept. Toby and Casey ended up fighting over the chair to sit next to Garby. And yeah, that must have made Sydney feel like shit, I'll be honest. Like, that must have made her feel like shit. Toby feels like Sydney doesn't believe in herself, and I'm just like, Toby, you actually look like a clown. From listening to Tyreek and taking Tyreek's advice. Like, you look silly. I'll be so real, like, you actually look silly. You should have just stuck with Sydney. Like, at this point now, it's clutch. Like, Casey's not no threat. Like, I don't know why you lot see Garby, yes, but if it comes down like to like a pair thing, Casey is... If it comes out to stamina, Casey will wipe the floor because he's a marathon runner. But other than that, Casey, to me, and I am judging a book by its character in this case, Casey don't look strong. Casey does not look strong. Like, Casey bangs gym. Casey's got a good body. Like, but in terms of like that type of, in terms of strength, I don't think Casey has it. I'll be so real. So it's like casino. So basically, obviously, it's casino style games, and the loser of each game will become vulnerable. Sydney's really not in the mood to talk to Toby, but I can't lie, Sydney, I understand how upset you are. But if you don't want to go home, if you want to make it to the final, if you want to try to win this shit, that's what I'm saying. I don't think she cares about winning. She's more in her feelings. So, which I get, she's valid. But it just goes to show, if you were more interested in winning and winning at 250k, you would actually put your feelings to the side for the minute and just strictly business. But it's clear to see where certain people's mindsets are. So Toby and Sydney, the first game that they play is like this kind of board thing where they have to stay the board. Obviously, it's easy when it's just one person, but it's two of them. And they had to get the ball in the names of the people that they wanted to make vulnerable. And the person with the most balls towards the end of the entire thing, that couple will become vulnerable. So first we have Toby and Sydney that go first. And they pick Garby and Andrea. Garby and Andrea, you know. Casey and Garby for 1. Andrea and Josh 2 times. Lucinda and Isaiah, they picked Garby and Casey twice. Casey and Garby picked Sydney and Toby. Josh and Andrea, Sydney and Toby all 3 times. Johnny and Gabby, picked Garby and Casey 3 times. Tyreek and Justine picked Garby and Casey 3 times. Which meant Garby and Casey are now vulnerable. The next thing was like, is it called a shuffleboard? Where you take the thing and you slide it along the board, and yeah, that's basically what they done. That was the next challenge. So then Garby and Casey, they picked Sydney and Toby. And then basically with this one, you had to chuck the drink on them. Andrea and Josh ended up picking Sydney and Toby. Lucinda and Isaiah, Johnny and Gabby, which was a shock. This was a shock. I really thought they would have gone for Andrea and Josh, but this one was really a shock. This was a spanner in the works. So it seems like Isaiah's not here to play, and this is the Isaiah I've actually been waiting for. It's like, fuck everybody, me and Lucinda to the end. Like, this is the Isaiah I've actually been waiting to see. And Isaiah was sitting there with a shit. Isaiah was not smiling at all this entire challenge. I think Isaiah's just had enough. And he's like, yeah, you know what? It is what it is. Like, every man for themselves. Gabby and Johnny pick Josh and Andrea. Justin and Tyreek pick Josh and Andrea. And Tyreek was like, oh, he thought that Josh would want to go and see Kendall and Chris. And Tyreek is basically saying, yeah, it's time for you to go and see them. Sydney and... okay, so what... is this the one more couple left? Sydney and Toby end up picking Josh and Andrea, which makes Andrea and Josh vulnerable. Now, here comes Josh whining and complaining and doing what Josh does best. And Toby's like, we just took it like a champ. Like, it is what it is. Like, it is what it is. And then Tyreek is saying to him, I don't understand why you're surprised, which is facts. Josh, you are a threat. Like, you are a threat to all these people in the villa. Like, you're a huge threat. So, of course, you're going to be next. If not Johnny, you. So, it's one of you. And obviously, Tyreek's got a closer bond to Johnny. So, he's going to pick Johnny. That's all I'm going to say. And then Tyreek was basically telling him to stop talking. I said, oh, yeah. We know when Tyreek tells people to stop talking and telling people to shut up, how that went last time. But you know what? Josh, that's a bit too much sometimes. I'm sorry. So, yeah. I'm not going to put Tyreek. I'm not going to drag him for that. Last game is there's cards on the wall. And basically they have to pick the amount of cards of what it adds up to. But obviously if they pick a joker, it wipes out the entire thing and they don't get no cards. So, Casey and Garby ended up getting 4. So basically the amount of cards that they have leads to the amount of times that they can vote for someone to be vulnerable, basically. Casey and Garby got 4. Sydney and Toby got Joker. And it's ironic how Toby picked the Joker because this episode he actually was a Joker for what he done to Sydney. Andrea and Josh picked 4. Justine and Tyree got 4. Gabby and Johnny ended up getting Joker. Lucinda and Isaiah, they got to the max. Josh and Andrea, they wrote down Toby and Sydney. So I basically wrote down a couple that they said the most. Lucinda and Isaiah, Johnny and Gabby again. Yeah, they're really Johnny. I see it though. They're one of the biggest compared. I see what's happening here. Because if you take out Josh and Andrea, Johnny and Gabby, then the 2 biggest competitions is out of the games. Now it makes sense. I hear it. I actually hear it. Casey and Sydney picked Toby and Sydney. Casey and Garby picked Toby and Sydney. Tyreek and Justine picked Johnny and Gabby. Lucinda and Isaiah. And the final card tiebreaker for Toby and Sydney. And obviously Tyreek was feeling bad, but he was like, it's like the fairest way to to make it a tiebreaker. It's like the fairest way. I can't remember what the score was. If it wasn't looking good for them, but in terms of okay, if we're talking about loyalty, Tyreek should have aimed that towards Johnny. Like, he should have given Johnny like the final vote to make them in the vulnerable situation and not make it a tiebreaker. Tyreek was thinking of the alliances still in the villa. When it comes down to it, you had the chance to make Johnny vulnerable. But I guess Tyreek is still trying to think of, if Johnny happens to come back, he's gonna gun for me. Tyreek is thinking of the long game, and I get it. It's getting messy, guys. It's getting messy. Like, it's actually getting messy. Johnny and Gabby are actually vulnerable by 1 card. Ariana enters, so one couple will be dumped from the villa. Whichever safe couple the ball lands on the roulette, they're the couple that gets to decide the fate of each of them. But there's also another game. There's a chance. So if you choose to gamble, your fate in the villa is decided with luck. Literally by spinning a ball. If it lands on, if it landed on the red, you were safe. If it landed on the white, you will get dumped immediately. So Gabby and Johnny picked. They wanted to be picked by the Islanders. He said, "No, I want people to look me in my face and tell me the reason why they want me to go." Valid. Andrea and Josh said the Islanders. Garby and Casey said gamble. They said nah, because it's not looking good. They know they'll get dumped out. So they said, why not gamble for it? Now, it's a case where if they're safe, is it the other 2 that get dumped, or is it just, no, it's 1. One of the other couples are definitely going home. So, or is it 2? Guys, I can't remember. Let me know in the comment section below. But yes, it's coming to clutch. What is it? The third today? I heard it's the 4th or the 5th is the final. So I think maybe Monday. Monday is probably the final, which I'm low-key glad about because it's one less show for me to review. And then I only have to focus on Love is Blind and Big Brother. And then once Love is Blind is over, I could get back into the gym. So yes, yeah, but yeah, guys, if you guys have enjoyed this review, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And don't forget, I'm on the road to 10,000 subscribers. I will catch you guys later on. If you watch Love Is Blind, I'll catch you guys in a few hours for Love Is Blind. Take care.